Nowadays, it feels like no NBA player will ever reach the level of LeBron James' greatness. Besides him, is there a player currently in the NBA that people compare to Jordan? But over the years, there have been players who missed their chance to be the next LeBron. People have forgotten what players like Blake Griffin.
Griffin hard to the goal, the slam dunk! Oh, real high! And he's fouled! A look at determination in the face.
Zion Williamson.
And how about Zion? Back door! I tell you, you better get back on D.
Ahead.
Look at that. Look where he throws it.
Ben Simmons.
From getting into the paint. 2-on-1 at the other end. Collins couldn't get the alley-oop and it knocked away. Simmons covered so much ground to break that up. Curry left it short.
And even more look like on the come-up. Now, when I say the next LeBron, I don't necessarily mean someone that plays like him. It can also be someone that was hyped similarly. So who are these players, and how did they miss their chance at being the next LeBron? First on the list is OJ Mayo. And this might sound crazy to some of you, but OJ Mayo used to be that guy.
Mayo, this is for the lead. You couldn't have guarded OJ Mayo any better than this.
Mayo's legend started before he could even legally drive. Magazines literally called him the next LeBron. He got an invite to Michael Jordan's camp while in high school. And, by the way, he tried to trash talk MJ during the camp as well. And, well, Mike is Mike.
So, we played 2 games. I think we split 1-on-1. It was a team game. And then he said, okay, now let me handle my business. And he looked me in my face and said that. I'm like, what you mean? So he said, I need all the campers, everybody to leave. Let's clear the gym. I said, oh man, so we continue playing pickup, and Mike was Mike.
Yeah, Michael Jordan schooled him, but that's not the point here. The fact is, OJ Mayo was supposed to be LeBron 2.0 when he came out. And in the beginning, it looked like that. Mayo went number 3 overall in 2008 and flashed real scoring talent, averaging 18 a night as a rookie. But the fall off was brutal. Off-court issues, clashes with coaches, a 2-year ban for violating the NBA's drug policy, and that was it. By 2018, he was gone from the league, forced to chase checks in Puerto Rico, China, and Egypt. But next is a player who was considered the best for 2 years, and yet scouts and coaches couldn't contact him. If you were around in 2014, you remember the Jabari Parker sweepstakes. At Simeon High in Chicago, Parker looked like a modern Melo with added defensive upside. Scouts called him the most NBA-ready freshman since LeBron. Duke got him, and he delivered 19 points a game with effortless footwork and silky mid-range jumpers. On draft night, the Bucks were hyped to get their man.
Select Jabari Parker.
With the second pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Jabari Parker from Duke University.
He was drafted 2nd overall, and the player who went number 1, we'll discuss him soon. But Jabari, once in the league, the injuries came for him. ACL tears in 2014 and 2017 drained him. And in between injuries, when he got the chance to play, he was still nice. But it wasn't enough. And just like that, a player once billed as the next face of the league turned into a journeyman, bouncing from Milwaukee to Boston to the overseas circuits by 2025. Now, who went number 1 when Jabari went number 2? Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins might be the clearest example of the next LeBron tag. In high school, his mixtapes broke the internet. A Canadian kid with freakish athleticism, a 44-inch vertical, and smooth scoring instincts. And it wasn't long before he was dubbed Maple Jordan. And when the Cavs took him number 1 in 2014, it felt like destiny. LeBron was leaving, and Wiggins was the chosen heir. But then the Cavs and the Timberwolves made a deal, and he went to Minnesota, where he had a promising start.
Ridiculous athlete. There is no denying that.
If this kid ever gets stronger, understand where he can get his numbers, he's going to be difficult to deal with.
Look at the world team. As Wiggins finishes.
He won Rookie of the Year, averaging 20 points a game. Fans saw flashes of superstardom, but whispers of a shaky motor, inconsistent defense, and passive play grew louder. By the late 2010s, Wiggins had become the poster child for empty stats. Then came the Warriors' redemption arc. In 2022, Wiggins silenced the critics with a two-way masterclass, locking down Jason Tatum in the finals and securing his first ring. A career once written off as a disappointment had found new life. And yet, even with the ring, even with the playoff dominance, he's remembered not as the heir to LeBron, but as a solid role-playing star. Unlike the rest, Wiggins wasn't a bust, but he wasn't a king either. But besides the high schoolers, there were also guys who had LeBron's body and vision. However, one fatal flaw that brought it all crashing down. Ben Simmons came into the league as a walking mismatch. He was too big to be a guard, but at the same time, too quick for forwards. A 6'10" point guard out of LSU, he came into the league in 2016 as the first overall pick for the Sixers. And when the game started, he was ready.
And now it's Simmons with a takeaway to the floor. Oh, what a play by Simmons. Durant up ahead on a two-handed jam. Simmons gets to the floor.
Rookie of the Year, an All-Star by 22, a Defensive Player of the Year runner-up. But it all came crashing down during the infamous 2021 playoffs Game 7 versus Atlanta.
Simmons had cleared out for him. Tapping his way in. Spins on Gallinari. Gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket.
This cemented his reputation as the star who wouldn't shoot. Add in trade drama, holdouts, and back injuries, and by 2025, Simmons was fighting for rotation minutes with the Brooklyn Nets. But if Ben Simmons' career crash started off because he wouldn't shoot, our next player had bigger problems. At UCLA, Lonzo Ball was balling. A 6'6" guard with anticipation skills straight out of Jason Kidd's playbook, pushing tempo and dropping dimes. Draft night 2017, the Lakers grabbed him number 2 overall, and instantly the LeBron comparison started. His NBA start was too strong.
A little bit, he knew that was one he really got to make or wants to make.
Nice dunk with the right hand, high ball.
Now watch a beautiful pass from Corey Brewer, but how about a better finish by Lonzo Ball?
But Lonzo's career became a fight against his own body. Knee issues, ankle sprains, surgeries piling up. By 2023, he hadn't played in over a year. By 2025, he was clinging to a role player spot in Chicago. And then we had LeVar Ball, the proud father getting his children in trouble with hype. He declared Lonzo better than Steph. While Lonzo didn't fold under pressure, the weight of expectations plus bad health brought his rise to a halt. But right after these guys, we had the freaks of nature who had everything needed to be like LeBron, until their bodies or their ceiling stopped them. First off here is Zion Williamson, who was more than a prospect. He was a phenomenon. a 285-pound tank who moved like a guard, jumped like a pogo stick, and turned Duke games into viral events. The Nike shoe blowout against UNC, that wasn't just a freak accident. It was proof that Zion was too powerful for gear built for normal people. Scouts were calling him a once-in-a-generation athlete, the closest thing to LeBron we would ever see. Some people disagreed from the start, but how about you? Which player is or was realistically comparable to LeBron? Anyway, back to the video. Zion was drafted number 1 in 2019 and an all-star starter by year 2. He put up 27 points on absurd efficiency, and when healthy, he bulldozed defenders like a grown man among kids.
41st overall, Tim Conley. And what about that block? Zion from the weak side. Hey. That'll get them up on their feet. Wow. Whoa. Man.
But then his health soon became a problem. By 2025, Zion had missed over 200 games and seemed to be getting fatter by the day. The weight questions never went away. The hamstrings and feet couldn't hold up, and instead of being the new LeBron, he became the new what if. Even at his best, the Pelicans never got past the second round. But for our next player, he just never hit the heights that were expected of him. At least, not yet. Blake Griffin wasn't just a prospect, his dunks were incredible. A 6'9" powerhouse with guard-like handles, gravity-defying leaps, and a ferocious edge. Out of Oklahoma in 2009, scouts hailed him as the most explosive big since a young LeBron, blending size with flair, but prioritizing slams over all-around polish. His debut season was pure fireworks. Rookie of the Year with 22 points and 12 rebounds nightly, plus a slam dunk contest win where he soared over a Kia.
Blake, do you believe you can do this? Blake, do you believe you can do this? You gotta believe. Sometimes.
He and DeAndre Jordan devoured alley-oops from Chris Paul, transforming the Clippers into must-see TV. Everything was going well until the injuries came. Knees, ankles, and a brutal staph infection. By his Detroit stint, the explosive dunks waned. His three-point shot hovered at 33% career-wide, and peak athleticism gave way to crafty veteran play. After going from franchise to franchise, he finally retired in 2023 at 34, pivoting to Hollywood and podcasts. It was a hard fall, which is very different from our next player who has been dealt the hardest hand by what we call empty stats. If Lonzo was the controlled floor general, LaMelo was the show. Deep threes, one-handed dimes, off-the-dribble creativity straight out of a video game. By the time he entered the league in 2020, he already had millions of followers, mixtapes that rivaled prime Kyrie highlights, and a family brand fueling the hype.
Long rebound, LaMelo. Significant rebound for LaMelo. That gives him 10. Woo! From Wakahache! Not just a long-range shooter. LaMelo creatively to McDaniels. Gotta make that one. Big rebound set up by the kid.
His rookie year justified it, winning Rookie of the Year, making highlight passes that made Charlotte relevant again, and an all-star nod before 22. It looked like the Hornets had their savior. That was the peak. But then the weaknesses came to light. Career shooting percentages stuck in the mid-30s, defense that often looked optional, injuries chipping away at momentum. By 2025, LaMelo was still putting up 20 and 8, but the Hornets weren't sniffing contention. He flickers between superstardom and empty flash. And yet, like his brother, when he's on, LaMelo is electric. The question is, can he turn sparks into a steady flame? What do you think? Still, we got even newer guys stepping up as the league continues to chase for the next LeBron. One of the new guys chasing the crown is Cade Cunningham, and when he entered the 2021 draft, scouts called him the most complete prospect in a decade. At 6'6", with a smooth handle and elite court vision, Cade was supposed to be Detroit's savior. He wasn't just a scorer, he was a conductor. And like so many others, he started well.
Aspect of this game you're going to love coming from your point guard.
Cade Cunningham, put it down. Cade Cunningham gets to the paint, turns, fires and fills it. He keeps that dribble alive, gets to the basket, hook on the run, hit it. Luka guards it. Hands to Jeremy Grant, to Cade for the long gun and goes.
Rookie triple-doubles, and at his best, Cade looked like a player who could lift a franchise. But here came the crash. Detroit's chaos. Injuries in year 2, a roster that couldn't win 20 games, and constant losing stripped away his momentum. Still, his talent is undeniable, and we still keep our fingers crossed for his future. But the next player is currently picking up steam. Paulo was the surprise #1 pick in 2022, but it didn't take long to see why. At 6'10", 250 pounds, with footwork and finesse, he looked like a LeBron light out of Duke. Rookie of the Year, then a 2024 playoff run where he bullied defenses, averaging 22 and 7. Orlando finally had a face of the franchise.
Banchero will drive it against Jordan. Overpowers PG. P5 takes it to the rack. Banchero against Barnes. Drives in, spins, fades, fires a jumper. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
This is not an easy place to inbounds the ball from. And that is get to your spot, fade away, well contested.
But here's the catch. Paulo doesn't have LeBron's burst or his otherworldly IQ. He's powerful, but not unstoppable. Skilled, but not unguardable. By 2025, he's blossoming into an all-star, but the crown still feels far away. At just 23, there's still room to grow, and who knows what the next 10 years might look like for him. The truth is, the next LeBron doesn't exist, because LeBron didn't just live up to the hype, he redefined what hype even meant. Everyone else has been chasing a moving target, and that chase has drowned many careers, turning them into what-ifs. But maybe that's the beauty of it. These players may not be the next LeBron, but they gave us moments. From Zion to Tatum, and even players like Luka, who are carving their own paths now. Those flashes, those highs and lows are part of what makes NBA narratives. But narratives aside, who's your biggest what if? Let us know in the comments. Still, speaking on NBA narratives, on the flip side of LeBron being anointed as the chosen one, is a player who was drafted 40th overall, now being the best player in the NBA. How did this happen? Watch how it happened next.